Hello everyone, welcome back. Good to have you back. A little hand clap for Jason. That was super fun, super chill on a fine Friday, so that was awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. This is our Adobe Illustrator Daily Creative Challenge. This is technically day 5, but it's really the 4th day of creation. So we're gonna have some fun today, and I'm happy that you're here. Joanne and Carol and Steve and Jennifer and Lamont and everyone. So yeah, let's dive into this because I only have 30 minutes, right? So let me go ahead and switch screens. You can see right in here and click on the the challenge tab. Today we're gonna create some colorful characters. So this is all about color, which is just can make or break a design. So I think this is gonna be really good. Trust me, you're gonna learn something here for sure. Shauna Heigel's in the house. Good to have you here. Rochelle as well. Hello. Michigan is here on broadcasting from Denver. No, I haven't shoveled yet. Blow your minds. I will. Man, I want you to master color because that's so important, right? But we're going to create some, we're going to actually modify some colorful characters. So it's all about color theory and kind of how you handle color. I'll switch over. By the way, the asset, you'll click getting started or get started. You'll have access to this asset that I'm going to be playing with today. Okay, but you could also use your asset from yesterday as well. Okay, so we made some aliens. We're dealing with fun characters today. So use what you want, but I did give you a place to start with this asset. Okay, hello from Germany. Good to have you here. Yeah, awesome, everyone. Let's dive into this. So you can see a number of assets right in here, graphics. I have all these fun characters, right? So we have to bring them to life, right? Notice that some of these are grouped, some of them aren't, okay? So keep that in mind, okay? So I can actually probably pull out my layers panel. I kind of want to make that a little bit easier to see. So let's just bring this up. And bring this up. Wait for it. Wait for it. There it is. But these are the panels we're going to deal a lot with. But there's so much more going on in here. Here's my layers panel down here at the bottom. Okay, so I could select any one of these characters. I can double click inside of any one of these and I can see I'm inside of this group because what I need to do is I need to select this shape right here. And I can give this character a color of just red, right? We're doing that using the swatches panel, right? I can select her. She's actually not grouped, by the way, but I can give her a color either using the swatches panel or the color panel right up here, right? So I can kind of jump in, pick some colors. We're just gonna find a place to start. Grabbing this one as well. Maybe we'll go with the hot pink, right? This guy right here, guess what? He's actually grouped as well. I want all of these elements to be the same color. Let's make him orange. And again, I'm just starting out here like so. Let's make his legs black like the others, and we're just adding color. This is the very beginning, right? This is all that I'm doing, just adding a little bit of color to all these characters because, again, I want them to be fun and lighthearted. And what I'm trying to do now is I'm selecting basically primary and secondary colors, right? Things will go awry, kind of like with her. She's actually not a true yellow, okay? It's only gonna work if she's like a true yellow. If I get off a little bit, notice how she's made her just like take the brightness down, right? So we're into shading. It's actually shading is what we're doing. A darker shade of yellow. You could see it no longer matches, right? So if you're gonna pick a color, stay with that same intensity if you're gonna change the color, right? Or you can pick one color and adjust the brightness and saturation for all of them. And what I'm getting into here is basically color theory. Let me just change the background real fast. Changing the background to something fun, right? Maybe a green, sure, why not? That red is really vibrating. The red actually really vibrates, by the way, when it's next to its complementary color. So look at that. This red vibrates a lot because it's next to its complementary color. How do I know it's part of its complementary color? Because it's all about color theory. So let's kind of dive into color theory. In fact, I'm going to jump out and go to this fun little site. You probably know about color.adobe.com. If not, hey, that's why you're here. Color.adobe.com. Give me this fun color wheel right in here. How do I know it's a complementary color? Right over here, complementary. Bam. complementary colors, right? As I rotate them, it's the one on the opposite end of the spectrum. So if I selected red, which I did for the monster, the complementary color is going to be green. If I put those right next to each other, sometimes they'll vibrate a lot. So I got to be really careful with that. But I love using complementary colors. The big thing here is making sure they're all the same intensity as well. So that's what I'm doing. This is color theory in a box, if you will. Off to the side, analogous, monochromatic, a triad. We can get into split complementary. So if you have a company and their color is blue oftentimes, right? A split complement is a great, two other great colors to pair with that one color, right? So you dial that in, whatever you need to do, right? I can use these RGB color sliders at the bottom to dial that in, but that's how I could potentially pick colors for a brand. Cool. Happy Friday, everybody. You get the idea. You have these color theories. You can jump in, play with these all you want. I encourage you to have some fun, right? Once you get something you like, well, hey, make it bright and sunny. There we are. Making this bright and sunny color palette. Let's go ahead and save this. And where does it save it to? Saving to my Creative Cloud library. Bright and sunny. Let's see where that is. Go into my libraries panel right over here. Zoop. There it is. Bright and sunny. So now I could potentially use those colors, right? Another thing about color theory, by the way, and let me know if you guys have questions. Would love to answer them. The amount of the color. I would never take this, and I would never have that back. Well, typically I would not have it be yellow, because yellow is such an intense color. It's going to overwhelm most things. I actually want to push it back. I want it to be a cool color, right? So that's why I'd pick the blue, right? So going in, selecting colors from that new group that I made, as you can see, like I'm doing. Cool. You get the idea. Hopefully that makes sense. Let's dive into more of this. Yes, it goes right into the library. Okay. Oh, so we could add this to our current color palette a number of ways. Okay. I have all these colors actually selected. Let's actually see if this does it. New color group. So check this out. I can apply the colors, change the colors all I want, and I can bring them into my swatches panel as its own little group. So once I kind of have these dialed in, at least possibly, I can go over here and say, hey, you know what? Make it a new color group based on my selected artwork. So this is bright, changed a little. Bright from Paul. Sure, why not? Click OK. Bam. Now it's in my swatches panel. Yeah, I get it. There's a lot of colors in there. I can clean it up if I want to as well, right? I just think this is a lot. Typically, you want to go with not this many, right? Okay. Oh, so whichever you want, Maria. So if you want to use RGB, CMYK, your hex code, it just depends on what your output is. A lot of times I'll just work in RGB. If I do know I'm going to print it out and that's the primary purpose, then I'm going to go with CMYK, okay? But I'm also going to be aware of my document. Let's go right down here. My document color mode that I'm working in, right? My document color mode is RGB. Kind of covered this on the first day, and that's what I'm going to stick with. Going to have those bright pops of color because I know I'm going to post it online, and I can always convert it back to CMYK if I want to. So thank you, Lamont. Lamont's in the house. You know what I'm talking about. All right, so let's go on because there's more I need to do, right? I have all these colors. Guess what? I can take all these colors. I can add more to this. So check this out. My swatches panel. I don't have to make everything from scratch, right? I can go into all of these different color properties. We want to go with a desaturated look. Boom, here we have desaturated. Grab a color group from there, drop it in here. And this might be an option I might want to deal with. Going in here a little bit further, I'm going to grab a couple more. These guys kind of look like fruit. Let's see what we got. Fruit and ice cream. Let's open up both of those. Here's fruit. Grabbing a fruit color group like so. Let's get into earth tone. Here's some earth tone with a little red, just like that. But I'm going to go a step beyond that because I'm going to be adding some fun things in here. You ready for this? We're going to get into patterns, basic graphics. Dots, lines, and textures. Let's get into dots. Boom. We're going to play with some fun dots in here as well. And I can always grab these, one of them or all of them, and drop them in, right? Let's make this larger, by the way. Sorry that was so small. I apologize. Okay. I'm losing my mind. I don't have enough time. Story of my life. Let's dive into this. Okay, so I might think these colors work, but this is what I'm going to do. Red, blue, green, if it'll go on a screen, CMYK if you're print someday. Cool. That makes sense. Let's check this out. I could actually use, I'm going to go up to Edit, and I'm going to go down to Edit Colors. And this Recolor Artwork is your new best friend. Welcome to your new best friend, Recolor Artwork. Even if you don't know what to do, just go in and recolor artwork. This is so easy and a lot of fun. First off, all those color groups that I've added are right here, right? So I don't have to individually go through and apply them. I can come in here and, you know, say, hey, you know what? Let's use the desaturated. Boom, done. Pear, boom. Earth tones, done, right? Web color, the bright color from Paul, right? So that's pretty awesome. But I would kind of try some of these. Maybe these won't work. I have a web color group there. I can actually go in and I'm actually assigning colors. It does it automatically. Okay, I can talk about that more. Oftentimes people will go into edit right in here and you'll lock this down. Link the color harmonies, link the colors together and rotate this around, right? So now we're getting something more interesting, right? It's like, oh, I like these not primary colors. Like these tertiary colors are really cool, right? Kind of even like that one, right? Yeah, so that's what I'm doing. Just kind of going through around this fun color wheel. I'm going to go with this pink because I'm really into pink lately. Yes, Annette, loving recolor artwork. By the way, you could spend a lifetime in here. There's so much more you can do. If I decide that I technically wanted to have to change all the blacks, well, I can add black right there and crank that up, and all of a sudden all the blacks are gone, and now they all have just like a nice, maybe a rosy tint if I wanted to in this case, or whatever the case may be, right? I've just shifted that, so now I've gotten rid of the blacks. I've changed the blacks to that new sort of maroon color. And guess what? If I decide this gray or maybe this orange needs to be part of the red group, which actually I'm shifting it to blue, I can grab that and move that up. Boom, and it changed it. This character, right? Changes that character to that blue color. So get lost there, have fun, and let's go on from this. Can you do this for fonts too? Yeah, yes, exactly. If a font is a color, works for fonts, right? We can get into colors as well. So, or excuse me, gradients. Let's select this character right here like we did before. Let's change this to just a gradient like that. Boom. Let's open up our gradient gradient panel, right? Just so we could see that, let's drag that out, right? We can make this linear, right? You get that idea. If you start adding gradients in one place, start adding them everywhere. My tip for gradients is go more subtle. Like, it's just gonna look better if you go a little bit more subtle. But again, it just kind of depends on what you're doing. I really like that pop in there. So that looks pretty good. I can take that, I can use the gradient tool to grab this bar, move it up here so it highlights his face more, something like that, okay? I can do that for all these characters if I want to. Let's just change hers as well really fast. We're gonna make her like that. Pulling that one out and toning this down a little bit, kind of like that. All right, and again, just going from that center point. Now you know how to add gradients. Gradients are really straightforward. Okay, how does the recolor art work? Which objects are colored? It's whichever objects are selected. So I selected everything. If I wanted to just colorize one character, just select that one character, go into edit colors. It's your new best friend. I could talk about this all day long, but I want to get into some more fun things that we can do. What's up, Helmet? Good to see you. it's just like, this is good. So I could take this, I could save this, by the way, and maybe I'll do that. I'm gonna select everything. I'm just gonna paste it on the background. I'm gonna duplicate this layer. So this is flat color, or this is just colorize. That's all I did here. Now we're gonna do new one that has like some patterns. So this gets a little bit more advanced, but it's really fun. So right in here, let's select this character like we've been doing, selecting him. I wanna add the dots, okay, on top of this character. So typically you'll go over here and you'll click dots. Oh, that's not what I wanted. I want the dots to actually be on top of the blue, right? So I use the appearance panel for that. Let's put that gradient panel over here. The appearance panel allows you to layer color one on top of the next. I'm sorry you're getting a freezing screen, Anita. Everything's 100% on my end. I hope everything's okay. So, but check this out. I just add another color. So we'll add a new fill in the appearance panel. Boom. Here's my new fill. This new fill is gonna have that pattern in it. We'll click right in here to these small dots. Boom. Now he has small dots, large dots, maybe some other elements, maybe some stripes. You get the idea. I like the dots personally. Okay. You might not be able to see the dots too well. What if you want to change the size? So check this out. I want to change the size of these dots. People, you might not be able to see them. You might think this is a laborious process. Guess what? All we need to do is go right over here to your transform tool, your free transform tool. Yes, it doesn't cost any money. Just double click on it. Oh, sorry, not your free transform tool. Scale tool. Your scale tool costs money. Just kidding. Double click on the scale tool, because look, as part of the scale tool, I don't want to scale up or transform objects. Turn this off. Don't scale it up. Actually, this is set to 100%, by the way. But I'm going to turn off transform objects, and you know what? Just transform the pattern itself. And then let's crank this up to 500, right? Let's make sure the right thing is selected. You know, scale that up, click OK. And it will scale it up. Why is it? That's fun. So that's what I would do. Let's try it actually with this one. And actually what I would do with this panel, as I select it, taking a look at the appearance panel, the dots are a little intense. Well, for the dots, I actually might want to play with the opacity. So I can take the opacity down like so, or I can jump in and change the opacity, change the layer blend mode for this one fill, change that to like overlay. And now it has a nice dot pattern to it. Okay, so layer those on. You get some fun things, obviously. I'm down to my last 7 minutes, so I'm going to try to do as much as I can. Even for this background, we want to do the same thing, adding a fill, making this fill the, the stripes in this case, changing that to soft light, and now we have some nice stripes in the background. You could see it just adds so much depth to it. And by the way, you could always change that fill to something else, right? I can still change that to a gradient. Let me turn off that fill for a second, because the last thing I'm going to talk about here, we did linear gradients. We have radial gradients. Oops, undo. Make sure the right layer is selected. We have radial gradients, linear, and then we also have freeform gradients right here, which is your second new best friend. Okay. Clicking right here to add check it out, freeform gradient points. Now I have this little dot. I showed this on the first day, but this allows me to have this character pop a little bit more as I add that color stop right there. I can put another one up here and change that color to something else, either something in my current palette or one of these others, but just kind of throwing a little bit of a fun color up there, even on this side. making sure each one of these characters stands out. Like right down here, this gets a little dark, right? So let's just double click right there and we'll change that to something a little more bright, kind of like that, okay? You get the idea. Let's make this a little darker. There's a little blue just for fun. We can have all the fun we want, right? And keep in mind, we can go back in and turn back on this fill with the stripes. It's still gonna work just fine. Cool. Is there an easy way to make a color look shiny or with a bit of a glow? Well, we can take this character under effect. We have a couple of different stylized effects. So this is where you'd give it an outer glow is what I would do there. So shiny is going to be a little bit more difficult, just to be honest with you, because there's just going to be different properties there. Okay. Yeah, I think for him, a lot of people actually will use, you know, a radial gradient. But to your point, we can go in for this character, and instead of having him be a radial gradient, in fact, what I can do is I can change this to like a freeform gradient, since I was just using it. And again, jumping in here, let's make that blue. This one right over here. We will make this one also blue. There's a method to my madness. And check this out. We'll go in here for this freeform gradient. I can change this to lines. So let's add a point here. Let's go lines, right? So we click here, click here, click here. And I've added those colors, turning them into a line for this top part. But for this top part, I actually want it to be a different color as well. So it helps if you change the color in the first iteration, because then it will maintain that same color for your whole line. In this case, I'd kind of drop that down a little bit, but you get the idea. So you can kind of create some like nice rim lights, if you will, or some highlights in this case, as I start to change that like so. Okay, you get the idea. I could always go back in and edit this gradient. I think he needs a nice purple down here. There we go. Fun stuff. There's method to my madness, and madness, that's part of my method. Here's the thing about color theory. Why does this not work? Because I have all these bright colors, okay? So they're all very saturated. And then I have this dim color right down here. So that's a case where honestly, I would select everything. I would go back into recolor artwork. I would find that black. I would go into edit. This is probably that black that has issues, right? I can turn this around, right? It's that weird color, but I can crank that all the way down and it changes it everywhere, which is nice, right? So it makes it super easy. And by the way, once you have your character done, last thing I'm going to show you, because I only have a couple minutes. Once I have this character done, I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool. Actually, maybe not that one. Let's add, not enough time. Let's do this, Paul. Let's do it. She has this nice pattern, these dots right here. I can always open up my graphic styles window, graphic styles. I like her style. There she is. We could add it to my graphic styles library like so, and I can use that later on. So let this like start a pattern, start a setup, and then start applying it to other objects, and then you could always change it. Boom, changing. Ba-da. You get the idea. Cool. Thanks so much, everybody. Here's my final, by the way. I just had fun with a lot of the patterns. I got a little carried away. But I want you to get carried away as well. Either you're dealing with this illustration or one of your own. Yeah, go for it. So again, another version, right? Another version as well. I like this old-timey version is probably my favorite, by the way. And Howard's up next. Good to see you, Howard. Down to the last minute. And don't forget, you can use the scale tool to scale this down to 50%. Like that. I don't know why it wasn't working earlier, but you got it. Thanks so much, everybody. Really appreciate you. I will see you on Monday, but hang out for Howard. He is up next. Thanks so much, everyone. Can you make the patterns? Can you make patterns to add the pattern to Yeah, for sure. We didn't really get into patterns. We'll get into that later, like making them. But now today we're just dealing with colors. We'll do patterns later because they're awesome. So I like where your head's at. Into it. Feel free, do that. If you do that, let us know. Post everything into Discord. That'd be fantastic. All right, everybody. I will be watching Discord as well. And again, loving what I'm seeing everywhere. Marius, this was probably like my favorite that I saw from yesterday. He's so happy. All right, everyone. Thanks so much. Hang out. Got Howard up next. You got a full day of Adobe Live, and I just appreciate you being here. So thanks so much, everyone. We'll see you soon.